In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, you know, they would not do it again so easily.
I think people are a little tired of the NBA, frankly. They become like a political organization, and that's not a good thing.
This broke-ass president despises this organization because
you're disrespecting our flag, and you're disrespecting our country.
he hates black people.
The Trump 2016 campaign allegedly tried to deter black voters from going to the polls.
All lives matter.
It's typical of him. I mean, I'm not surprised.
But what if I told you NBA owners who empower their players to speak out really don't support any of the messaging? While you've likely seen Black Lives Matter painted on courts and statements made by teams, it turns out NBA owners simply talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. The Magic are owned by Dan DeVos, whose sister-in-law, this creep, is Trump's Secretary of Education. The DeVos family, to no surprise, has donated repeatedly to Republican lawmakers, the same ones who lean into QAnon and despise black empowerment. Super PAC after Super PAC received funding from the DeVos family, the owners of Amway. The DeVos's accounted for at least 465 separate transactions over that period, 174 more than any other owner-spouse combination. Disgustingly, 2 weeks after George Floyd's death, DeVos donated $200,000 to America First Action, one of Donald Trump's super PACs, whose advisor, Juan Pablo Andrade, said this.
Juan Pablo Andrade said the following about Nazis.
The Nazis didn't get right is that they didn't keep going.
Of the 10 owners who have donated the most money since 2015, 7 directed more than 75% of their political contributions to Republicans. Dan Gilbert, owner of the Cavs and CEO of Quicken Loans.
We're going to turn right now to look at a billionaire who owns casinos, facing a pending lawsuit, and has a reputation for launching attacks on journalists. No, we're not talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about Dan Gilbert,
who hosted the RNC in 2016, where the Cavs play, is a big-time GOP spender. James Dolan, who remains silent after Floyd's killing and Black Lives Matter, is a staunch Republican, donating repeatedly to the death cult. Dolan, owner of the Knicks, who released a song on his friend Harvey Weinstein,
I should have known,
is a Trump guy, as in doesn't pay taxes on Madison Square Garden, but he can pay politicians, donating more than $2.1 million in political contributions over the past 5+ years, with 91.4% going to the GOP. The Holt family, who owns the Spurs, has donated over $1 million in political contributions to the Republican Party and $1,000 in Democratic donations. Julianna Holt, co-CEO of Spurs Sports and Entertainment Inc. and matriarch of the Holt family, has donated nearly $500,000 to Donald Trump and Trump victory. Like Dolan, they didn't make any statement after Floyd's death. Tillman Fertitta, a man worth nearly $5 billion and owner of the Houston Rockets.
You're doing your people a favor if you get them furloughed first, because they're the first to the unemployment line.
Who has no grasp of the American worker and brown noses Trump every chance he gets, is both siding the hell out of this.
I totally agree, and I understand the protest and the injustice out there.
He told CNBC, but he has financially enabled President Donald Trump, donating $140,000 to his re-election efforts. In total, the Fertittas have made more than $1.3 million in political donations over the past 5+ years, 96.5% of which has gone to the GOP. Miami Heat owner Mickey Arison is a friend of Donald Trump, whose company Carnival Cruises helped sponsor The Apprentice over the years. In the same city of George Floyd, Timberwolves owner Glenn Taylor made more than $150,000 in political contributions since 2015, all of it to the GOP, including more than $50,000 this election cycle. In 2017, Taylor donated $2,700 to Steve King, a neo-Nazi. Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver has given more than $220,000 in 5+ years, with more than $179,000 going to Republicans. Philadelphia 76ers owner Joshua Harris and his wife Marjorie have made more than $830,000 in political contributions over the 5+ years. 77.3% has gone to the GOP. Harris is in tight with the Trumps, even interviewing Jared Kushner about a job in the administration. Yuck. The job never materialized, but in November, Apollo, Harris's private equity firm, lent $184 million to Mr. Kushner's family real estate firm, Kushner Companies. The loan was to refinance the mortgage on a Chicago skyscraper. The Times reported Harris's loan was triple the size of the average property loan. There are some people who purport to despise Trump, but believe as long as he keeps those taxes low, he's their guy. Now, I think that's a disgraceful excuse for why you would support someone with his politics, said Michelle Roberts, executive director of the NBA's Players Association. I think it's really dishonest for anyone to even say, oh, I'm just donating to one of the parties that I believe in. You can't differentiate. You can't separate whatever economic argument you make for supporting Republicans from the harm they're doing, said Shaniqua McClendon, now political director for Crooked Media. If you'd like to hear more thought-provoking content like TYT Sports on Facebook and to help in my journey to keep media independent, go to tyt.com/Rick.